It's Marla Martenson and Karen A. Dolman.
Hi.
Very nice. All right. And this is Hildegard. She wanted to be a part of the show today. So she's going to be answering questions later. You can leave them below, and Hildegard will email you back.
Now the trick is, Marla, can you be a ventriloquist and throw your voice into Hildegard?
Hello, this is Hildegard, and I am the Witch of the West. You know
that was pretty good. That's pretty good.
I will tell you a funny, quick story. When I was a little girl, you know, every year I wanted to be something else. You know, I think in first grade I wanted to be a baton, baton majorette.
Twirler, yeah.
And then I wanted to be the fastest tap dancer in the world after I saw Ann Miller in a movie. And then I wanted to be a writer. And then one year, I think it was when I was in 4th or 5th grade, I wanted to be a ventriloquist because Shari Lewis had lamb chop, and I loved that. And so my parents bought me a ventriloquist doll called Otis, and I thought, yeah, this is going to be my career. I'm going to be a ventriloquist. And I realized I really couldn't talk without moving my lips. And anyway, my career as a ventriloquist was very short-lived. But my parents...
It's not a very easy thing to do without moving your lips.
It's very hard to do. But
it's very hard to do.
My parents really humored me along in every crazy thing I wanted to try.
Very supportive, very nice.
Very supportive. And you know, there was one year where I wanted to play the cello. I don't know why. My dad rented me a cello, and I would lug it up the hill to school. And back then, I wasn't allowed to wear pants, jeans, or anything back then. And so here I am in a skirt, you know, legs spread with that big cello, trying to... Oh, I mean, I had some crazy, wacky things. But this leads us into what we're going to talk about is how the universe supports our vision. Because even as children, we have that vision, we have those interests and what we want to be when we grow up, and we try things. And then when we become adults, often the stress of having to make some money or not being supported in the things that we loved or fear, we end up in jobs that we hate, or at best tolerate, or whatever. So I went through that, and a lot of people do, and everybody, Karen and I, managed to break out of that, and the universe did support our vision, but it wasn't that easy because the universe kind of had to pry us out. So Karen, tell us your story about how you came to be your own boss and successful and loving what you do.
Yeah, well, there's actually 2 stories to this. The first story was I was 27. I was working as an employed psychotherapist, art therapist at a residential treatment center for adolescents, hard to treat. And it was I worked there for about a year and a half. And when I started seeing that things were being squelched, and so this is where the universe kind of pushed me, I might have kept staying there not knowing there were options. But what happened was we would do these incredible programs that we were involved in, painting murals and really helping kids take the pain out of their body and putting it outside of themselves to release it and all this wonderful expression. And then the administrator came to me and said, "Oh, Karen, we love these murals you're doing with the kids on the walls. They're beautiful, but we need to cover those up because we have new investors coming and new parents coming. And if we don't cover those up, they may not support our vision and our company." And I was very upset about that. So that's the first time this happened to me, and I just had to quit right then and there. And since the age of 27, I've been self-employed. And then when I decided I would get out of the therapy business, although I still practice, but I don't practice like I used to in a private practice, I had an opportunity to start in the cell tower industry, which many of you know. I help design and develop cell towers that make your mobile phones work. So I had an opportunity to move to California. And I was working for a gentleman as a contractor, and I was basically running his company. I was the director of operations. So I decided after, here we go again, a year and a half, that it's always my magic numbers. I was going to help grow his company. And so I had a lawyer step in, and he had his own lawyer, and I said, let's put a proposal together, and we were going back and forth. And then one day he just stepped into my office and pulled it all away and said, "Karen, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go forward." I was almost devastated, but my vision was so large that I realized the universe had to kind of push that nudge through this person I had worked for as a contractor without him even knowing it, to kind of push me in the direction of maybe having to go out on my own again and do this on my own. And listen, I knew nothing about the industry other than I'd learned a bunch in a year and a half. I'm not a technical background. I'm a psychotherapist. artistic and all that in the background, more right brain than left brain. And what happened was, as soon as he did that, the universe supported. I knew that I was going to do it on my own. I just had that vision after that had happened. And I swear to goodness, that same day after he had pulled the office, the phone rang. He was still standing there in the office with me. And the phone rang, and it was a business phone. And I said, I guess you better answer that. I wasn't going to answer it. He goes, okay. So he answers the phone. They say, where's Karen? Uh-huh. And he said, well, she no longer works for this company. And they were livid. So they called me back on my cell phone and said, we want to talk to you. And in fact, my boss wants to talk to you. Got on the phone with her, and she flew me up within 2 weeks to meet with her at this major wireless carrier and said, we want to hire you, get your team together, and we're going to sign a contract. Boom, bang, beam. Right like that, as fast as that, because it was a vision I had, and the universe really will support you in that vision as long as you continue to effort and drive yourself in that direction. Right. Now, how about you, Marla? You had something similar like that happen as well.
Very similar. You know, I was working, I came down at 19 from Seattle, Washington to be a movie star. So I, always was the creative type as well. And I did do acting in TV commercials. I did print modeling. I did some things, but I could never make a living at it. So I ended up working in restaurants. So I was waitressing, I was hostessing, I was cashiering, I was managing. I co-owned one with an ex-husband who was a chef at one point. 20 years in the restaurant industry. And, wow. And I will say that although there were some fun times and it had flexibility to give you, it was the only really way to make enough money to pay the bills while leaving your day free to go on auditions and stuff, it was never my dream. I always wanted out of it. I was like, God, I used to stop, I'd go around, when I'd go to Europe, I would go in churches and leave notes at the altars. Please, God, help me get out of the restaurant business. On my way, when I lived in Chicago, I worked 2 jobs, one at night in a steakhouse and one in the daytime down in the Loop. And on my way to the daytime one, I'd stop in. There were about 2 different churches on the way. Beautiful. They have beautiful churches in Chicago, the old ones like the European. Oh, yeah. And I would stop and I would pray. And I said, God, I don't know what else I can do. I don't have any other skills. But I want to get out of this. Please help me to get out of the restaurant business. Bring me something. I'm open. And I prayed and prayed. And I did not want to be, and not that, I still have friends that are in that business. It just wasn't my dream. I knew I had more talents to bring out than what I was doing, as bringing people their food and blessing away the dirty dishes. I had more in me to share. And I just didn't know how to express it or how to bring it out and make money. And so, and I didn't want to be a 40-year-old waitress. I had these goals, like these goals. Okay, well, I don't want to be. So I'd kind of have these milestones in my head. So at 39, my father had passed away from terminal cancer. I moved back from Chicago to LA, and my money was running out. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I met my now husband, and he had a friend who was taking over the management position at a video dating service. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'll give you a job part-time. And you can still go on auditions. I was still doing some acting, so I broke in a little bit to the date. I had no idea about this dating industry, matchmaking, dating service. I was doing that for a year and a half. From there, I moved over by a fluke to a Beverly Hills matchmaking firm, which was high level, the wealthy guys wanting the beautiful ladies, to kind of like the millionaire matchmaker. And I started, I was the main matchmaker running everything, and then had the boss and I did not have the same ethical vision or way of doing things or seeing things. And so it was going against my grain. I was unhappy. I found myself sick a lot, bronchitis. I found myself in the doctor's office. I just was not happy. It was not going, but I was learning a lot. I was making good money. And my husband would say, what's wrong? You work, you know how many people would love to work in Beverly Hills and have a great job? What are you complaining about? This is ridiculous. And then then the recession started, 2008-9, it got really bad. But something happened between me and my boss where he had me a threat. He had me against the wall, and I had said things and he had threatened things, and there was no going back. I had to quit. And I made a split decision when he decided to put somebody else in charge. It's like, well, you are no longer the vice president of matchmaking. Now such and such is your boss, and you will do whatever she says. And I thought, okay. And I said, well, let her run it then. And I got up. I said, well, let her run the company then. And I got up. I went into and I had already packed everything up because I knew what possibly was coming from a phone call. I had everything packed up, grabbed my bag, and I was shutting down the computer, and he walks in and he says, oh, and don't think you have to finish out the day. And I said, oh, I don't. And then I grabbed my bag and walked out and put my little plant on the receptionist desk, and I had said, have a nice day. It was kind of like a take this job and shove it kind of thing.
Basically.
But I was scared. I was freaking out. Oh, no, what? I don't have much money left in the bank. My husband's going to freak out. What in the hell? I was like dead man walking up to our door at the apartment. I thought, he's going to kill me. And I'd called him first, and he's standing there waiting. And I'm like, ah! So, of course, I was very fearful of the boss. Would he retaliate? He didn't like competition. Who knows what? I don't know. I was just scared. And I started looking for jobs on Craigslist. Nobody would hire me. But shortly, all the clients that I'd worked with, they had loved working with me, started calling me on my cell phone.
There you go.
Started looking me up on the internet, tracking me down. Are you doing anything? I want to work with you. I hadn't planned to continue being a matchmaker. I didn't call them. I didn't steal the clients or anything like that. I was like, I'm done. I can't take it. I need to find something else. And then they started calling me. And I said, okay, now is my opportunity to work on my terms. I'll take only the men that I want, not because I have a big overhead that I have to take any guy that's, he's 60, he wants a 25-year-old, he's whatever. I don't need to do that. I can take who I want, work and do it on my terms, which I did. And so the point is, the universe pried me out of that job. I wasn't going to quit. And during a recession, I was afraid, but I trusted. I said, stay calm. Stay calm. Everything's going to be fine. I got little tiny jobs along the way that let me pay the bills. I didn't ever have to even ask my husband for a dime. It was like I was going to do this on my own, and I paid. And then the money started rolling in and rolling in and rolling in from the guys that contacted me. So I think both of our stories are similar, and in the fact that we held the vision, we also acquired our expertise and knowledge from a job from before, so be the best you can, even if you're working for somebody else or
That's
whatever.
Right.
And then people are going to seek you out for that expertise later. And I didn't know how to have my own business. I was in my late 40s, and I thought, who am I going to send to if somebody complains? The buck stops here. I can't send them to my boss, and I was afraid of that. So
yeah, that's a really interesting story because it hits on a few points here. And one of the points is that you do want to always hold your vision, and even though you may decide that this job's not for you anymore, you stick with it, be the best you can during it, as Marla said, I was too, and then you decide what it is you want to do next. It's really looking at what were those passions and drives and interests you had as a child, and you pull those back into your life. Mine was always, I love to do right brain, left brain things, and I'm going to do it. And I knew nothing about the left brain world in terms of the cell tower and communication, telecommunications. And Marla didn't know anything about matchmaking. She just went out there and went after it. And so what it was, and you start learning these things on the job, and if you trust yourself and you ask for your energies to help you, you ask for your guides to help you, you stay true, and even though you're scared, you're going to have fear, but still staying true to your path, all these energies conspire and realign around, in a very fun way, what it is you want. And so remember that. You're not alone when you do this work, when you go out and step into your passions. And even though you go, well, I got this job and it's going okay, but it's not really my passion, still do that job and try to find ways to bring in those things that are your passion. For example, Marla and I both do our day-to-day work, and we also augment that with all of our spiritual work we do, and our Ouija board work, and all these really cool things. I don't educate about the Ouija board full-time, not at this point. I'm doing the other work as well. So, but I can bring that passion that was mine since I was really young, spirit communication, into my work and do it as you see we're doing here. So it all can work out. But never be afraid to step forward. Is that right, Marla? Never be afraid to step forward and follow that dream if you have it. Is that correct?
Right. And a big thing that people are going to love is the books. I always wanted to be an author since I was a little girl.
Yes, me too.
This both. So the Ouija board stuff brought you to be an author, and the matchmaking allowed me to be an author. And I wrote the first 2 books were on dating advice, and then the second 2 books were my memoir about being a matchmaker. So it's the when I was praying in the churches and leaving notes and my intention, I didn't know what I was going to do. The universe brought me matchmaking, which brought me to writing and to the other creative things, to my skills and all those skills that all those acting classes that I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on helped me now what I'm doing with the YouTube, with the writing, with the book signings, with the speaking, with dealing with all these clients. I mean, here I'm stepping into, some of my clients are billionaires, you know, and so I can talk with someone from any walk of life, and that brought me those skills. So anything you're doing now, I would say they can be it could be an advantage of what you're going to do later.
And here's a big secret I'm going to tell you. Shh. I'm only telling you guys. The big secret is this. If you stay true in what you're doing and take each job, each thing you do as a stepping stone, as Marla just said, it all is connected. This little thread that connects through your life, it'll take you to that next thing you really want to do. Don't second guess what's being handed to you. Accept it, look at it, go for it, and step into that position that it is. And as Marla said, she always wanted to be an author, and I always wanted to be an author too. And all these things we did along the way took us to the point that we can now be authors and come out here and talk about our books and what we're doing. And there's even more dreams that we both have. And the secret again is be grateful, be appreciative of where you are right now.
Yes.
Because that right there, yeah, this is our little secret, just our
That's
little
the key.
secret. Because that right there is going to give you the power, the springboard in which to move into the next thing. And you're saying to the universe, I may not have known how to get here to doing this, but yet I'm going to trust where you put me, and I'm going to make the best of it. And then I'm going to allow still for my dreams to come forth. And I may not know how those dreams are going to unfold to me, but yet I know and trust that they will. And they will. This is the law of the universe.
Yeah, and every day, don't go to your job hating it. Like, even though I didn't want to be a waitress, I would get up, I'd put on my red lipstick, my cutest earrings, I'd look as cute as I could, and I would have fun with the clients, fun with my coworkers, and make it the best I could. I wasn't going to just go and, you know, here's your food, and just be miserable. I would dance to the music, and you want to just bring yourself, because you're not, whatever you're doing, you could be a street sweeper, a waitress, you know, laying tar out on the sidewalk, you know, whatever you're doing, you are really bringing yourself and bringing your talents and bringing your love. I mean, what you are, what did Wayne Dyer say? You're really like a conduit of love, because you want to be the best you can be in whatever you're doing, and whatever you're doing is bringing something into somebody's life.
And the universe notices that when you're giving it your all, because now you're supporting it. You're saying yes to the universe. You're saying yes to all these gifts that can be yours. So by appreciating where you are and by stepping up and being the best, because as Marla did in her matchmaking, the first group she worked with, the second group she worked with, when she finally pushed come to shove and she left, and that was the universe speaking through this gentleman and through Marla to leave. It allowed all these people to come out and find her. For me, when I left, even the first hospital job I had all these psychiatrists calling me saying, come work in my office. We've seen the work you do. Or I had the main client calling me saying, we want to hire you. We're talking a huge contract. You don't just get these any day you want. So it was because I showed up. And even when I was working with that boss man or the people at the hospital, administrative staff, I was still doing my best. But I knew when it was time to get out. And I was afraid, but yet, because I showed up every day, as Marla said, and you just go for it, people notice, and the universe notices and says, wow, this person is really appreciative of these fabulous gifts that we are granting her, because that's what her desires are. And because of that, we're going to continue to roll out more. And each step she takes, it's going to roll out even bigger. And I'm going to tell you, every step I took along the way in my career, and every step I stepped out on my own, is really, and taking new steps to do industries I don't know anything about, has really, really, really taken me into some incredible expansion of knowingness, expansion of self-confidence, expansion of abundance, prosperity, and meeting really cool people. Marla's one of them. The path is just littered with all this wonderful stuff as long as we're appreciative.
Yeah, and I will add another point. When I was I thought I need to find something. I need to find some work. So after I had left that job, and it was a recession, I was on Craigslist. I applied for like this little chapel for people to get married, you know, and I don't, all of these things were paying like $10 an hour or whatever. But I thought, okay, in the meantime, I got to find something, and that would be great. Wouldn't I be the perfect person to work in a little chapel where people get married and welcome them in? Okay, they wouldn't even call me back. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. They needed somebody. They had the ad. And so then, okay, there was a youth hostel in Hollywood. I lived right off Hollywood Boulevard. They needed someone that spoke different languages and know the area. I speak several languages. I know the area. I'm bubbly. I can welcome people. They wouldn't even respond to me. I drove all the way, like an hour and a half away, to go apply for this job selling funeral packages.
Goodness.
My husband said, "What are you, nuts?" I said, "I think I'd be very good at selling funeral packages. I'm very
well.
Good.
I think that was setting you up to work on the board and do spirit.
I know. And then I went to that, and then I found out you got to knock on people's doors, and I was like, I'm not doing that. So I wasted that time. So nothing. All these doors were closed. But you know why? I wasn't meant to be making $10 an hour at these stupid little jobs that may have been kind of fun, but really getting me nowhere. The universe closed those doors, and then they knew that the guys would be calling in 3 months' time. So I.
What do you think allowed you to allow this abundance into your life? As you said, you weren't supposed to do those other jobs. What do you think allowed you to step into that abundance?
Well, I've always been like a girl of the law of attraction. I think a big part of it was staying calm. And knowing, just, okay, stay, because you can panic. Oh, God, my income's going down.
And
what am I
that's
going to
easy.
do? There's a recession. It's hard out there, which my husband would get into that. It's hard out there. There's no jobs. You got to stick with what you got. And I wouldn't listen to it. I'm like, I know that something out there is coming, and I would meditate, and I would go and to have my coffee on Hollywood Boulevard, and I'd look at the Hollywood sign up in the hills, and I would just say, oh, isn't this wonderful? When I was a little girl, I came on vacation here at 14 and looked at the Hollywood Hills and said, I'd like to live here someday. Yeah. And I was living there. And so I knew, just thinking back about all the things that did work out, and and I know I have some talents to bring out, and I would just ask the universe to let me bring out. So and my husband, still even now, if business is a little slow once in a while, he'll say, stay calm. Another client's going to sign up. Stay calm. Yes, don't worry about it. So he's calmed down too. But yeah, so you guys, tips is stay calm, keep your vision, know that you have talents that the universe needs, and that you will have that opportunity to bring them out. Keep learning, stay open to opportunities, and follow those breadcrumbs. One of my friends, who's a very, very successful man, has made millions and millions of dollars in something he loves, and he says, Marla, you follow those breadcrumbs, you're overturning every stone, and that's why things work out for you, and even more big things are going to come.
Trust that, what you just said. That's a beautiful thing to say. Everything is connected to each other, and don't underestimate those connections, because they're usually huge, and they're the best for you always. So trust.
So we wish you all the best and all of our love, and if you have any questions, leave them below, because we're doing these videos regularly, and we love viewer questions.
Thank you.
Bye.